Okay, so I'm just going to work this one with you. So I'm looking at this, whoops, and this is, so this has the a squared minus x squared in the original integral. So that means I'm going to use x equal a sine theta as my substitution. So this time my a is 4. So it's x is equal to 4 sine theta. So it's very different. So x equals with thetas here. Right away, find the dx. This is the most common mistake. Forget to find this. Okay, so now I'm going to substitute in. So inside for here, inside the radical, I have 16 minus, and I'm going to be substituting this in for x. So I'm going to square it as I go. So 16 sine squared theta. Little dx gets replaced with all of this. And on the denominator, I have x squared, which is 16 sine squared theta. All right, so inside this radical, I am looking for an identity to make it go away. So I can factor out a root 16, and I'm left with 1 minus sine squared. I'm just going to carry the rest of this along. 16 sine squared theta. So this gives me a 4. This in here, let me just kind of go slow. This is cosine squared theta. There's another 4. 16 sine squared theta. Well, look at that. All the numbers go away, don't they? Okay. The square root of the cosine squared gives me a cosine. So this gives me cosine. This gives me a cosine. And then I have this sine squared theta. So what do I have here? I've got cosine squared over sine squared. That's cotangent squared, right? Cosine over sine squared gives me cotangent squared. So you're thinking, what's the antiderivative? What can I take the derivative of to get cotangent squared? That's negative cosecant of theta plus c. Okay, so I've ended up in thetas. I need to get back to x's. So you go back to the original substitution. So I'm just going to write it again here. And I'm going to write x over 4 is sine of theta. And then I'm going to draw my triangle. Here's my angle. So opposite over hypotenuse. This side here will be 16 minus x squared. Yep, there's my little happy moment. It is the original expression. So now it's my job to get cosecant of theta off of the triangle. So cosecant will be hypotenuse over opposite plus c. So that was kind of a nice short one. All right, let's try another one. Here we go. So this has the square root of x squared minus a squared in the denominator. So my substitution is going to be secant of theta. X equal a secant of theta. So this is going to be 3 secant of theta. Again, right away, find the derivative. Secant tangent theta. Okay, so you're expecting a little problem to get big. So on the numerator, I have all of this. And in the denominator, inside the radical, I'm expecting something to make the radical go away. So x being squared gives me 9 secant squared theta minus 9. Okay, the radical will go away if you did it correctly. If you somehow made a mistake, and if the radical doesn't go away, you made a mistake. You substituted the wrong trig identity, you multiplied wrong. So I'm going to factor the 9 out. So there's a root 9. And then I know I've got secant squared theta minus 1. And I remember that secant squared theta is equal to tangent squared theta plus 1. So inside here, So this gives me a 3. I have a square root of a tangent squared theta. So this is tangent squared under the square root, right? So the 3's go away. So this tangent's still here. So tangent squared, square rooted is tangent. Oh, look at that. What happens there? The tangents go away, so I just have the integral of secant. Do we know the integral of secant? You do. It's secant of theta plus tangent of theta plus c. Okay, now to the triangle. The triangle, I'm using x over 3 is secant of theta. So that's hypotenuse over adjacent. The third side here would be x squared minus 9. Yep, that's from my original, in my original problem there. So I have ln of secant, which is x over 3, plus tangent off of the triangle is opposite over adjacent plus c. So I just want to point out something that you could see in math books. So this, and I won't require this of you, don't worry, but this one you could factor out a 1/3, right? Let me just point this out, just so you see it. It's nothing profound. So couldn't this be written as, because you've got multiplication inside an ln of 1/3 plus ln of minus 9 plus c. So this could actually be incorporated into the c. So I'm going to leave my answers like this, but if you go into other realms, lots of times they like factor things out.